Welcome back to the Mina Show featuring Lenny.
Like we're doing school news a little bit.
We are in New York for the audio audience. You can also watch this on YouTube if you want to see me and Domonique sit next to each other like we're in Weekend Update.
It does feel like that.
Covering.
Can I write jokes for you?
You can always write jokes for me. Whether I'll use them is another story. We're here to talk about the Monday night games, which were very exciting.
Were they?
They were weird.
Yeah.
The second one was exciting in a way. I don't know. It was sloppy.
Yeah, I fell asleep before the second one, so I had to watch it again in the morning because I'm on the East Coast. But I was less excited by it because I already knew the result.
Yeah.
But the first one was intense. I feel like there was, I don't know, it felt like playoffy atmosphere.
Bucs Lions playing for first place in the NFC. Let's start with that one, and then let's go in chronological order because this one, the Bucs Lions game, to me, felt lopsided the whole time.
Yeah.
Felt like the Lions were firmly in control of that. The Lions offense, weirdly though, I thought it was going to be like a shootout and both offenses were going to go to, especially, we were in Detroit and you're like in the dome and that was not the case. The story of the game was the Lions defense, which is where I want to start because I was so impressed by them.
I mean, I also would like to give a little bit of love to the Bucs defense. I thought their defense actually played really well, all things considered. But yeah, the Lions defense, I think we'll go to the obvious place of like, they have a whole bench secondary. And it wasn't just that they were holding their own. They were playing well and making plays. And Kelvin Shepherd was not calling a conservative game plan to protect them. It's just, it feels very Lionsy. They feel like the most authentic team as far as their culture matching up with their words on a regular basis, because all coaches are like, yeah, we're not taking a step back. We're next man up. But they actually do it, and they've done it in back-to-back seasons.
So heading into this Lions season, we were wondering how the coordinator changes, because they had coordinator changes on both sides of the ball, would impact the team. I feel like offensively, the jury's still a little bit out. The offense looks fine. We'll talk about that side in a second. And there's been games where they've looked dominant, but I would say, doesn't look that different.
Yeah.
It kind of looks a lot of copy-paste from last year. I don't want to look, Aaron Glenn was down a lot of players too. But I kind of feel like Kelvin Shepherd might be one of them guys. And no, I mean,
I'm not laughing because it's ridiculous. I'm laughing because it's ridiculous and it feels true.
It feels true. Yeah. What strikes me is they've really mixed things up it's not just, and I think this was last year, it was a lot of just like, they're just man blitzing, right? When I watched them this year, I feel like he comes into each games with a pretty individualized pressure plan. Yeah. And he's really good at game planning for individual offenses. So there was a lot they did in this game. And, I was like, oh man, they're missing so many players in the secondary. How are they going to handle that? And really a lot of it, I thought the answers came up front with what they were doing to rattle Baker Mayfield. So something I wanted to mention, because it felt true during the game, and then I looked it up. Jack Campbell was lined up at the line of scrimmage 30% of the time in this game. And they did a similar thing to what they did to actually the Ravens, ironically, but where he would line up and then drop out and sort of keep eyes on Mayfield while also covering the check down in some cases.
It's a little bit easier to do that spy thing on Baker than it would have been on Lamar. So I'm sure he was happy with that job. I remember it was the second play of the game where their D-line and McNeil, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back.
The second play of the game, he pushed right into his lap, and Baker scrambled and started running and stumbled to his feet right in front of Campbell's feet. And it felt like, from then on, it kind of seemed clear what the game plan was. And there's another thing that jumped out to me about them is they do this thing that very few teams do, is that they will run with all motions, but still play zone.
Yeah.
Which I noticed them doing it where it's like Jack Campbell, they'll put him outside. And so some teams will come out of the huddle and line up with tight ends and running backs at the furthest points. Oh, got some Zoom action. I didn't know I could do that.
The camera will track you. Just Saturday warned me about
I thought I turned it off, but whatever.
I know.
They'll come with tight ends and running backs at the furthest points outside, and the defense will match. Like a safety will go out there and a linebacker out there. So it's man, then they shift back to their real formation. And they were doing that, and they were going out there. Then they would run in motion, and the DBs were smart enough to know wherever they were, their responsibility changed.
I think it's sort of the other part of the simulated pressure aspect, which is it felt like the whole game Mayfield never got a beat on what coverages they were playing, where the for open so often watching, and the Bucs offense has been very well coached to this point, it's felt like they have dictated to defenses. In this game, it felt like the Lions defense was dictating to them. And I want to go back to Elaine McNeil too, because you really saw his impact, I thought, on the interior of that defensive line. And everybody, I mean, Muhammad was the one, he got 8 pressures in this game, but it felt like so often they were running a ton of stunts on the inside. The defensive tackles were getting doubled. They were worried about Campbell, but then he would drop. So you were getting one-on-ones and Hutchinson gets chipped all the time. So Muhammad was often the beneficiary of that, but I thought he was fantastic.
And Hutch was ridiculous too.
Yeah, despite being chipped and doubled.
And also he did that spin move on Wirfs that they highlighted. But I want to go back for 1 second to the Baker Mayfield thing. One of the things, if you picked outside of like the half funny but half serious comment of Moxie, if you picked one thing about Baker that he's exceptional at, I think it would be his accuracy.
Yeah.
And he was inaccurate in this game.
Yeah.
And my theory is that it has to do with the deception of the defense. It's like, I feel like it's a lot easier because you walk up to the line as a quarterback and you mentally like, all right, this is where I'm going to go. This is what I'm going to do. And then if it works out that way, then you're all in stride. I felt like oftentimes he's like, all right, this is where I'm going to go. This is what I'm going to do. And then there's like a panic to it.
Yeah.
Where he's like, and then the accuracy suffers because he's whipping around and throwing it. And I think that, to me at least, I feel like that's connected to his accuracy issue in this game because he kept going high.
Yeah, he had a 3.15 second time to throw, which is, without looking, has to be the highest of the season. And I think you're right. I think he felt like he was never quite sure who was coming, who was going, what kind of coverage was he truly getting in a one-on-one. Now, we should note, obviously, they lose Mike Evans in this game. Ibuka is playing, but he was injured. The Bucs have like kind of been holding this together, right, with straw and paper clips up to this. There were some moments where the 2 young receivers, the Johnsons, looked like rookies, and you could tell that they didn't quite have that timing with Baker. And I was watching them thinking like, brilliant defensive game plan. I want to give the Lions credit, but also we are now seeing this kind of high wire act because the Campbell couldn't run the ball either very well. Lions have a great run defense. But.
And the deception, I think I hadn't thought of this until now. It also impacts the receivers because I remember you and I talked after the Bucs played Seattle, and it felt like the receivers in Baker had a good understanding of where to be and where they wanted to be versus particular zones. And it didn't seem as if they had that same understanding in this game.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. So let's go quickly to the Mike Evans injury. Don't know how long he's going to be out. It's like, oh, finally he's back. The offense is once finally at full strength. Do you feel, I mean, I don't want to this team was just the first in the NFC and we all had them, in our top 5s and whatnot. Are you starting to worry about the offense, or do you feel like they'll figure things out? Or do you think this is more just about like the Lions defense being really good?
Yeah, I mean, I think 1 week of the Lions defense being really good and them not having an answer for these particular pressures and deception, I think we owe Baker in this offense at least a little bit of like leeway that they'll get it all together.
Yeah. I think they really have to figure out a way to run the ball.
Yeah.
Which has been...
they had a running attack at some point. Like it's...
Yeah. I think there's, they've been injured on the offensive line. Obviously, Irving's not... I think White's a good back, but I just feel like all the 2-back stuff they were doing last year gave Baker so many easy answers, the screens and whatnot. I was a little bit surprised that they didn't attack the Lions linebackers more. I thought coming into this, that would have been my game. I think the Chiefs kind of put out the clinic, or not the clinic, but the blueprint in that way. But it's I don't know. That, to me, the story of the game for me was the Lions defense, because when we think about like the Lions and where they stand in the broad landscape of the NFL, we know what the offense is capable of. The fact that the defense could play this well despite their injuries, I think should be really scary for the NFC. Yeah,
I mean, I think that was one of my takeaways, but it feels like you're also taking away that I should be a little more concerned about the Bucs, offensively at least, going forward, which I hadn't considered. But I mean, you're right. The running game matters. Baker Mayfield, I think, has shown us that he can play at tip-top elite level for some amount of time. How long he can do that, or if we can expect him to do that, because even the best of the best quarterbacks have a couple off weeks. So like, we can give Baker that. I guess that's the question, is if they don't establish a running game, Mike Evans obviously and Godwin if they come back, well, Mike Evans seems like he's probably not coming back, but Godwin comes back, I don't know the effect they'll have on the game. Will Baker be able to manufacture this offense? And I mean, they still have O-line injuries, so there's hope, obviously, that things will get better.
Yeah, I'm not. I still think they'll win the division.
Right. Yeah.
The defense too. I mean, just to kind of flip it to the other side of the ball, they've had their fair share of injuries as well. Like you said, they played really well in this game. I think the problem was the Lions were able to attack what the Bucs' glaring weakness on defense is, which is the linebackers in coverage, passes to running backs. Yeah. I was surprised by how well Gibbs actually did run the ball in this one, because I know he's crazy. Because the Bucs run defense is really well. Jahmyr Gibbs, 125 yards and 2 touchdowns on 9 runs between the tackles. Obviously, he had the one gigantic run. And then the passing game, he had 94 yards after the catch. It wasn't anything crazy. They were just throwing it to him in the flat, but I just don't think the Bucs have the speed at the second level to keep up with that.
Winfield made an incredible avoidance of Penei Sewell and tackle on one of those passes. But other than that, it felt like no one could get to him. Winfield couldn't catch him when Gibbs was running through the middle of their defense. That the patience and the explosiveness and acceleration that Gibbs has is exceptional.
I think for the Bucs, it's kind of true on both sides of the ball. It just felt like a really bad matchup.
Yeah.
Because the Bucs are really great, but I mean, some of the stuff they do with pressure was really rattling Goff as well. But when they just would throw a straightforward blitz at them, he was able to dice it up. And I think the Bucs, when I think about this defense, the weaknesses, throws to backs and tight ends, and then play action, and then teams that can beat the blitz. And unfortunately for them, the Lions just check all of those boxes.
But you're going to have to beat the Lions.
Yeah, right. That's probably going to be the Lions. Yeah. I mean, if these teams play again, I'm going to pick, unless Tampa can really get back to how they ran the ball last year. I think that would be it for me. In conclusion, the Lions
pretty good.
Look really good. I think if you're a Lions fan, though, you're just especially encouraged that you won a game because of their defense, which is what I would pin this on, because that's, moving forward, we know that what this offense is capable of, but the defense has been losing guys. And
they did it last year too, and then eventually it caught up to them.
They did.
Yeah, so we'll see.
This defense looks better to me than last year's, though.
I mean, I think you already pointed it out because of they're a little bit more versatile defensively than they were last year. I think you're absolutely right. And healthy Hutch right now, that helps a lot too.
All right, speaking of defense, Texans Seahawks. The nice way to characterize this game is we watched 2 great defenses.
Yes.
The negative way to characterize this game is, at least in the second half, the offenses took turns peeing down their legs. But I really do. I mean, look, Sam Darnold made some bad mistakes. Also, it's play calling, whatever, we can talk about that. I don't understand some of the things Clint Kubiak was doing from a clock perspective. But when you actually looked at how he turned it over, again, mistakes on his part, but it was an amazing interception. Amazing interception at the seam. And then
the fumble.
Yeah, the fumble is they were backed up at their own goal line a couple of times, and Houston's pass rushes. I mean, Will Anderson. That said, Sam Darnold, Will Anderson is on the blind side. Show a little bit of pressure feel, my guy. How do you not, if I'm there, this is the number one person I'm worried about is Will frickin' Anderson.
And I mean, I guess this also speaks to the play call in that situation too, where it wasn't like a fast developing play. It's like, what was the concept there? And then Sam Darnold, you're not Mike Vick. It's not there. This is not the situation to try to buy time. He starts to roll out like he's about to make something happen, which I know you're capable of, but this isn't the time and the situation. Live to fight another day.
This was the first game of the season. There was a couple times in week 1 where you felt like you saw a little bit of end of season. Yeah. But it's funny because right after, was it the pick or right after the forced fumble? I think it was right after the fumble in the end zone. He came back and threw an absolute dime to JSN on an outbreaker. And that's what I'll give this to Sam Darnold. He's got a cornerback brain. He came right out and just kept firing.
I mean, I think he had to develop that. There was a long stretch of bad play at the beginning of his career.
Right.
For him to bounce back in any way, suggests that, a bad play? Oh, that's not going to stop Sam Darnold. He's had a bad start to his career in New York.
The first half, the Seahawks offense was actually rolling for a while, and it was an incomplete performance from them.
I badly want the Seahawks to be like, it feels a lot like the same way I feel. I guess I'm talking to the wrong person who also badly wants the Seahawks to put it all together, because I think the pieces are there and they've shown glimpses of it. It's the consistency. And I guess it's also the Sam Darnold of it, is that there's only so high a level, or I guess it's not even a high of level. It's only so many of these games you can expect, because they have what they need, I think, but it just never quite raises to like what you think a
big part of the reason is they're not a good running team.
Yeah.
I mean, well, they got to benefit. They benefited from being next to like a horrible running team. We'll get to the Texans in a second. But they just don't consistently run the ball. And the vision for this offense is one where the play action still works, obviously, but where Sam Darnold isn't being asked to drop back a zillion times a game, and he's not in third. The Seahawks are terrible in third and long, by the way. I pulled up the numbers earlier because I was looking at Green Bay and how good they were. So you're right. That's why it feels incomplete. Like, you have a receiver who is playing out of his mind right now. You have a pretty well-designed passing attack. I think the play-action game is really good. Guys are getting open. And you have a quarterback who is extremely accurate throwing downfield. But because you can't run the ball, he's not always in good down and distance. And he also has a tendency, to turn the ball over. And I think that's going to be, until they can run the ball better, it's always going to be a little bit of a roller coaster with this offense.
And I mean, I guess it's hard to take anything from this game for their defense, because like, it's against the Texans.
I mean, God, okay, just the Texans defense is so depressing to me right now, because
Texans offense.
No, the defense.
Depressed for the defense.
Because I'm sad for them.
I got you.
I also, by the way, like, what a credit to them that amidst the offensive impotence until the very end, they were still playing so hard, turning it over, forcing fumbles, getting after the quarterback, picking him. I mean, that has to be, you can speak to this better. I'm like, we've talked about this actually, you and I, a lot. Like, what do you do when you're an elite defense saddled with a crappy offense? And you often see, as the season goes along, the numbers fall off a little bit. They're gassed. It's hilarious to say about a game where, Seattle put up 27 points, but it's like, they're right now the best defense in football where it doesn't matter.
I mean, I think that it's kind of a cop-out, because the answer to so many questions is about leadership. But I think that's what it's about in that situation, whether you can keep it together or whether you fall off. But I'm sure that I probably told you this before, but like, I remember being on teams with Ray where it was like, if they don't score, they don't win.
Yeah, I feel like on one hand, you look at this team, we'll talk about the offense in a second, and you wonder if there's moves that they could be made so they don't waste their defense this year. But I don't know if there are. We'll get to that, particularly because of the nature of their problems on offense. It's a shame. The defense is amazing. A couple other things, though, about the Seahawks offense that I wanted to mention. Clint Kubiak. On one hand, like, it's so weird because he like runs it. On one hand, I understand why he didn't want to run the ball at the end of the game, because they were so bad at it and they're good when they're aggressive. I just don't think this is the defense that you can do that against. Darnold had a couple straight dropbacks backed up at his own goal line.
Yeah, I mean, they survived it. It is the defense. You're right. I guess the question is, what are you trying to accomplish?
Yeah.
And I think generally, like, I have a hard time, like, chastising aggressiveness. Like, I get how, like, the Giants-Broncos game comes up as, like, a decision to have Dart throwing in that situation. Like, I'd rather go get it, especially when you're in a situation where you haven't run the ball well all game long or all season long. Like, I'm asking, we need a first down. We need several first downs. Like, I'd rather go out trying to get the first down than like go out trying to take your timeouts, because that's effectively what they're doing. So like, I get it, but I also like hate to like criticize people for trying to go for it.
Yeah. The clock factors into it a little bit, but there was also enough time left where it wasn't like there was like 2 minutes left, right? So it's like, I don't know, I think it's a little bit overstated.
Yeah.
The other thing I didn't like it was Mike McDonald punting it on 4th and 1. They did that weird fake formation, like they were going to run a trick play, and then they punted it. That to me was more offensive from a like clock management kind of standpoint. Like you're right. Like just.
I guess I assume it's like a check with me, like the fake trick play thing. It's like we get the look we want, we'll go for it. And I mean, either way, just line up and go for it.
It's 4th and 1. Yeah. I don't know. I think they would have.
But I guess if you feel like you can't run the ball but
they weren't as bad as Houston running the ball. I think they've shown the capacity to get,
Charbonnet seemed untouched on that touchtouchdown that he scored, but that was a 1 yard touchdown, right? Or 2 yards.
Yeah.
So they have the capability to your point. Like, I don't know. It's
just something it's like, okay, you're up 2 scores. I get it. But like, I think there's been a few moments this season where I've questioned sometimes his lack of aggression. It feels a little bit like,
I hate to say it, but it's a defensive
coach. I know, defensive coach being like, my defense is elite. And it's like, I respect that, but that's not how you manage.
Yeah. I mean, and the league is tilted for the offense to have success. So, like, if you're in a situation where you need to get 1 yard, like, I feel more comfortable no matter how elite your defense is.
All right. Speaking of that defense, story of the game, really, for most of the game, they were put in some pretty horrible field position situations by the offense. But for the most part, the Seahawks defense, which you, before the season, predicted would be the best in football or the second best? Where'd you have them?
They were top.
You had top 3 at least.
Something like that.
What impressed you the most about this defensive performance against Houston?
I mean, nothing new, honestly. Like, it's the same stuff that they've been doing all year. It's like, not all year, for the past couple of seasons. I think it's the versatility of their players in general, but obviously, specifically the secondary. I always like watching Leonard Williams do anything because he's just a ridiculous special giant of a human and athlete. And I mean, I've also, like, this is a minor thing, but tackles is like it's a team that, and I guess I haven't looked up the numbers, but just watching them play, it's a team that I feel like tackles well. And so many explosive plays are a result of, especially coming off that other Monday night game where, like, nobody could tackle Gibbs. And those are like, they played well most of the game, but they would miss tackles, and that would be a problem.
I think what struck me the most in this one, some of it obviously had to do with the competition, was it felt like the way pressure and coverage were working together. The Seahawks had, according to True Media, 10 pass breakups in this game, which is the most of any defense in any game all year long. And I was going back this morning and watching them, and on so many of them, a lot of them it's a guy getting it, dropping into, it's a simulated pressure. So you have guys like the very first one was Mafe dropping, and he breaks up the slants, and he was amazing this game. Amazing play. You have a few like that where they were taking away the checkdowns and forcing Stroud to hold on to it. Pressure gets home, he throws the ball, checks it down, immediately it's broken up. So there were a number of those pass breakups were because of pressure. There were all kinds of games up front, stunts, all of that. But also, I was really impressed by the coverage. I mean, just going back, like, some of them were just tight coverage on slants and go balls. I thought Reek Woolen and Josh Jobe were both excellent in this game. Again, Nico Collins goes out. It's not exactly a group of world beaters at receiver, but still, because that's where the Seahawks were really injured. Still no Devin Witherspoon or Julian Love, and I thought the secondary played really well. But they played really well, like, knowing that what was going on up front. There was that relationship.
Playing DB in the NFL, I know that they aren't the starter, or Nico's not there. Like, it's hard all the time. So, like, I get that you have to put the disclaimer about who's there and who's not, but, like,
PBUs are hard. It doesn't matter who
really
you're
difficult.
You get 10 PBUs,
that's
a lot.
Incredible. And I think that also speaks to preparation, which, like, that's one thing that we can say. We could criticize McDonald's decisions on punting the ball, but, like, it feels like his team is always really well schemed up for the opponent they're playing against.
100%. They are pretty comfortable saying one of the most challenging defenses to play from just a schematic perspective, and they're really talented, which is very cool to see. All right, on the flip side, the offense, I mean, it's nothing new with Houston. It's kind of the same stuff we've been talking about. They can't run the ball. I don't think it's funny because, like, I wasn't watching this thinking it was like a jailbreak of an offensive line situation, the way I sometimes feel watching, like, the Chargers. You know what I mean? Like, or the Raiders or the Titans. I was like, oh, there's moments where where I actually think Stroud's a little late or he's making a situation worse.
Yeah.
But they just felt outmatched in every way. It didn't feel like there was a single area offensively where they had an advantage over Seattle.
That's good of you to be able to separate that from saying it didn't feel like a jailbreak. Because I think maybe I have this problem where if I come in expecting something and then I see it, and of course it was really bad because they did not, I guess when I replayed in my mind, you're right. Like it wasn't just like the levees broke, it is just flooding them. No, it wasn't like that at all, but it didn't feel good. So like, I still left thinking, you're still the problem. And I know, like, you're right. Stroud wasn't perfect and he's probably getting worse in part because of the situation.
100%.
But if you ask me what was the problem with that offense, I'm gonna say the offensive line.
Yeah, I also don't, I mean, schematically too, or I mean.
But what do you do? That's the thing. We
Right.
haven't seen anybody really do that effectively, except like, I guess the Chiefs last year, they really didn't do it effectively, but they like stayed alive.
Right.
I think McDaniels a few years ago managed to put together a good offense with a bad O-line. Like, you can't block.
Right.
It's hard to even get to.
Well, so much of what
scheme.
they do in quick game, which is, just slants, and Seahawks are really good at defending slants because they take away some of those sim pressures. We're taking those away for Stroud in terms of like the outlets. Again, the Seahawks defense so good at game planning for their opponent. They understand that's where you want to go with the football. They got them a few times with play action. It felt like where Stroud would kind of boot, and then it wasn't even like long. It wasn't shot plays. He was just flipping into someone, which is why I agreed with Dan and Lewis. They were losing their minds at the 3rd and 4th down rushing attempts. I really feel like they would have gotten Seattle a little play action flip. And then they tried it on the next drive. Seattle's like, we know you're going to do it this time. We got the boot covered up, dude. I think, but like, the Seahawks defense gives everybody problems. But I also feel like this offense right now there's nothing they measure in. Like when you think about when it was good with Stroud and Collins, it felt like those in-breakers, those digs off of play action, they were really good at, and it's just not there anymore.
They give Baker problems.
Yeah. That's true. Speaking of that run game, they had 5. So every run was either a 1st and 10 or 2nd and 10, which was not great, or the short yardage runs. They had 5 attempts with 1 yard or less, and I think netted out -1 yards on those. And that doesn't even count the false start one where it was a TFL.
Oh gosh. That's really bad for the offensive line and offensive line coach. Like that's I don't know. In training camp or in any situation we do goal line drills, like the first hitting or tackling drill that you do, and it's the time the offensive line is the happiest because you can't go anywhere. It's like we're just gonna use our big bodies and slam into you. For them to not even do that well is particularly concerning.
The overhead shot of the 3rd and 4th down, every lineman loses. I mean, and again, the Seahawks defensive front is really good and really scary, but that's crazy.
They knew this was a problem.
I know.
They've known it's a problem for a while now, and not addressing it just feels terrible. Sorry.
Well, I think that kind of cuts to what I said at the beginning, which is, it feels like we're wasting a Super Bowl caliber defense because these offensive problems don't feel like something that can be fixed at the trade deadline.
I mean, it could have been if you tried. I mean, it's too late now. I don't know. I mean, you said that earlier too, and I guess what are the problems that could be fixed at the trade deadline? Like receiver, if you have a receiver problem, maybe.
Can I say something nice about the Texans? That kid Noel, Jalen Noel, who's their 3rd round or 4th round draft pick, they should use him more. Holy smokes!
It's not going to fix their problem.
I know, but he gets open.
But I guess, okay. No, I mean, it's exciting. We need another receiver. Can he kick slide? That's what we need to know. Can he drive block? So
the Seahawks win, headed into their bye. Feel really good about that defense. I still feel good about the offense, but I think it's flawed.
Yeah.
The Lions, I feel probably the best about of the 4 teams just because of that defensive performance was so impressive.
Are you ready to start like ranking teams in the NFC?
Well,
I mean, you don't have to, obviously.
I've been doing a top 5 power ranking.
Oh, this is the dog walk?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to get on that.
Go check him out. It's only exclusive to IG. Mina Show on Instagram. Go follow it. That's where I post my power rankings. I'll do a new one at the end of the week. Last week I did Chiefs, Bucks, they're gonna fall. Colts, Lions, Seahawks.
Wow, such disrespect to my Colts.
Third, yeah, they're gonna rise.
Yeah,
that's not that disrespectful. Third is pretty high.
Man.
Do you disagree with any of the 5 teams?
Oh, give it to me again. Chiefs,
Bucks, Colts. The Bucks will fall.
Yeah.
Lions, Seahawks. This was last Thursday.
Yeah. AFC stinks, huh? I mean, Rams 35 points.
Rams.
I feel like they're gonna wait. We'll talk about them.
Let's take a break. Come back and talk about them Rams. All right, NFC West. We talked about the Seahawks winning, and your winner is the Rams, and my winner is the Niners. Bloodbath of a division right now. Could send 3 teams to the playoffs very easily.
Yep, only 3. Definitely only 3.
I don't even know how to rank them, too. Yeah. Somebody, I went on Rich Eisen's show, Colleen was hosting, and she asked me, how do you rank the NFC West? And I was like,
I mean, the problem with the 49ers is, like, I keep expecting them to succumb to these injuries. And, like, I refuse to, and that's probably not fair, but I refuse to take them seriously because all their good players are hurt. Their most important defensive players are hurt, and then they just shut down the Falcons. But anyway, we're talking about the Rams, right? That's what you're going to talk about, the winner?
You can do the Rams first, then we'll do the Niners. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's the Rams were incredible. They went to London, and it was to close out that series. They did I think they're the first team to fly in the day before. So they stayed on the East Coast, but they didn't go to London until they did the regular schedule where a team arrives the day before. They went the day before, but they weren't all on the West Coast. They spent the rest of the time on the East Coast. But anyway, that aside, they woke up on time and they beat that ass 35-7. That game was incredible. Matt Stafford, I assumed would have had you would assume for 35 points, he would have a ridiculous amount of passing yards. He did not. That front, would they end up with 7 sacks? I think against them. That front is incredible.
Sacks. They're fun to watch.
Yeah,
too,
that team, the whole team is fun to watch.
Yeah, fun to watch.
Without Puka and Nacua out there, they put up crazy points. I mean, it was embarrassing for Jacksonville, of course, because they are supposed to be London's team, right? Isn't that what they say? Yeah. But they got off to a good start this season and then have obviously fallen off. But the Rams are so fun to watch.
Really quick on the defense before we get to the offense, which is, I think, thinking about the NFC West too, I still have the Seahawks defense is the best, but I think the Rams offense is the best of the 3. But the defense, really quickly, you're right. They sacked him 7 times. Going back and watching all 7 sacks, I was very impressed. Chris Shula, I think, does a really good job with his pressure designs. They do a lot of 5-man rushes. Similar to the Seahawks, a lot of stunts and guys dropping and this and that. But I was actually really impressed by the coverage in this game, which has been the Rams' weakness. I thought the cornerbacks played surprising. I still think that's a position that the Rams should try to target ahead of the trade deadline. But I thought they played really well in this game.
Yeah, I did too. And was against, I guess you also have the drop situations, and Travis Hunter made a couple of big plays late in the game, but it wasn't against bad receivers. And Travis Hunter seems so just so comfortable as a football player, which is really impressive on both sides of the ball. Unfortunately, Jacksonville can't get it together, so he won't be on any more big stages this season.
Every game, though, I'm always like, why are you not doing this earlier? Why is he not more involved in the offense? Yeah. Also, Brian Thomas Jr., just stop throwing it to him over the middle of the field. I don't know what, it's...
I mean, I get it. It's reasonable. It's logical. The problem is most football players are not reasonable and logical. And he seems to be going in the middle of the field nah, it hurts in here.
No, thank you.
No, thanks.
The Rams offense without Puka, I was really interested in seeing what this would look like. There's a couple things that really jumped out. One, the connection with Adams, which had been really it felt like until the timing was a little bit off between the two of them. Timing was not off in London. Holy smokes. And then the 13 personnel was really interesting. Yeah. They had 3 tight ends on the field for much of the game, which was obviously a change from how they've been with Puka Nacua. They finally got the rookie 2nd-round draft pick Ferguson. So I think I talked about this on the pod last week, but I've been wanting to see him because in the preseason you saw he has an explosive element to his game. Problem is he's not a blocker. McVay doesn't like putting players who can't block on the field. So his solution was to play with 3 tight ends instead of 2 and just make him a glorified wide receiver. And I mean, They were effective.
I don't know how that works when Puka comes back as healthy, but I'm sure it works. I think that's one of the things that McVay, if you think about like what he does that's like exceptional, is kind of his ability to innovate in ways. And I think he was one of the first coaches who was like F the preseason. And he also, I feel like, is one of the few coaches who I think sees the season. And I feel like it's shifting. He was one of the first coaches who I think sees the whole season as like a marathon and a journey. Whereas we all come from a place where it's like every week is the Super Bowl. And I say that because I think that this 13 personnel set is like, it's going to be something that they have in their pocket that for the right matchup, even when Puka's back, that this is going to be something that they break back out. And I imagine that he's like, oh, let me file this away. This is a way to find an advantage if we need it.
If the matchups are there. Yeah, I mean, there's such an under-center play-action-centric team. When you're putting 3 tight ends on the field, they were... Yeah, it was the play action in this game. Stafford was 14 of 15 for 146 yards and 3 touchdowns.
He only had like 170. I don't remember how many yards, but like that's almost
a lot of play action is my point.
Yeah.
The Rams offense rolls on. Sean McVay's so good.
Yeah, he is really good.
Okay, well, I had the Niners as my winner, and we talked about them a little bit. Some interesting things in this game, I thought. So you can really talk about both sides of the ball because against the Falcons, they were really good. Defensively, we'll start there. So that was in some ways more impressive because...
So much more impressive to me.
Well, they've lost everybody.
Yeah.
Pardon me, they're still losing people. Bryce Huff, who was unbelievable in this game, then of course immediately they're like, he's out for 2 weeks. I'm like, what?
What are they doing?
Levi Stadium, ancient burial ground. Look it up. But they, Fred Warner's out, so I want to get his name right. Tatum Bethune comes in. Plays really well. Again, the run defense, I thought, was legitimately very impressive in this game against, one of the best rushing attacks and arguably the best running back in football, though Christian McCaffrey said, listen, youngster. We'll talk about him in a second. But I also think Atlanta, I'm not saying this was more because Atlanta's so inconsistent. Their unwillingness to throw over the middle of the field against a Fred Warner-less defense really helped San Francisco out and helped, the spine of the defense play the way they did.
I think that middle of the field thing, like I imagine that it's something that you probably have been paying attention to, but it feels like there's a number of starting quarterbacks that won't attack the middle of the field. And it seems like there was a time when there were quarterbacks that wouldn't go deep, and it's like, it feels like it's a weird way to stretch the field, but it feels like Trevor Lawrence is that guy too, where it's like, and I guess that's partially because Brian Robinson doesn't want to do it, but it's scary in there because it's confusing. It's not scary out on the outside. And I wonder if...
Mom, pick me up. There's all these defenders.
Yeah. I wonder if coaches are... if it's decisions that the quarterbacks are making or if it's coaches that won't attack that portion of the field. Because I've been saying it's scary in there. It's not just about people getting hit, but it's about being able to understand where the coverage is coming from.
Yeah.
Because people can come now, especially with the Sims and the people dropping out, like people can come from anywhere and guys just feel hesitant to attack that portion of the field.
I think you're onto something, which is defenses are better at defending the middle of the field.
Yeah.
It felt like, when you think about like early Shanahan, Niners offenses, it was so easy to attack the middle of the field against, like the Seattle defenses, but really most defenses. And actually, I should look this up. It does feel like defenses have made a concerted effort. It's like a post-Tua thing too, where it's like, okay, we all know if we just got to take away these throwing windows over the middle of the field.
Yeah.
I think with Atlanta, it's a little bit chicken egg with the play caller and the quarterback because they think they're pretty aware of that's just not a thing. So like when people ask, sorry, I know we were talking about the Niners, but Falcons fans, when they say it feels like everything's so hard, it's like, everything is hard because you're on 4th down, you're throwing outs, like, which was an amazing play, by the way, but the Niners nickel, Upton Stout, right? Or no, Chase Lucas. So in any case, that's an Atlanta specific thing. But I do think the Niners defense was really impressive. Obviously, Robert Saleh is still a really good defensive coach. And then they could run the ball finally, which was the other thing I wanted to emphasize in this, because Christian McCaffrey's been amazing as a pass catcher, but prior to this game, he's been pretty underwhelming just running the football. And, I think there was a lot of emphasis made on George Kittle being back, and there were definitely plays where that helped. There was like one big split flow play where I think Collinsworth highlighted during the broadcast where he just comes across and just lays out a dude. But going back and watching all their explosive runs, it's almost all power. Yeah. A lot of it's two-back power, and the line was just pushing Atlanta around, which is, how do you mitigate this Atlanta pass rush? Well, you run the ball like that.
And that's it, get in those situations where the blitz is as dangerous, which is what they want to do, and don't have Mac in that situation. I think the offensive line, and to be honest, I didn't watch the offensive line super closely, but I do like Christian McCaffrey is a unique player, and his ability to turn, and that's something that always jumps out to me when I watch any running back, is like, how much is because of you? And it's not just like yards after contact, although that's like a big thing on it, but like watching someone set up blocks and watching someone understand that I need to get back to there, but that means that I'm going to use my eyes to pull you here. Like that type of stuff, I think, goes unnoticed for why a running back, and we talk about a lot with quarterbacks and pass protection. It's like where your body is in the pocket and how aware you are of everything around you and how quickly you make decisions. All of a sudden, that bad O-line looks a little bit, it's like they're passable now because you don't put them in any bad situations. I think the same thing could be said for a running back that's as smart and talented as Christian McCaffrey.
I also will say, again, in this game, I think when the Falcons lost Diablo, who's their very good linebacker, the Niners correctly made a decision. Okay, we're going to go with super downhill run scheme between the tackles, and worked well. I genuinely don't know what to make of this Niners team, because I think like good offenses will do a better job. I think the Falcons offense is just so inconsistent. I think there are some offenses that do a better job of attacking them without Fred Warner, but the offense is almost back to school, despite their quarterback not playing, is back to full power. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't. I mean, I refuse. I know it's not fair because they're doing what they have to do, but I refuse to believe that they're going to be a competitive team late into the season without Bosa and Warner on the defense. Maybe the offense, they don't have a ton of weapons. I know Kittle's back and Christian was great in this game, so maybe that'll change the thing. But their starting quarterback's gone. Like, they don't have like a proven receiver that's like a real number one, which I guess, I don't know. It's hard for me and to your point, they couldn't even run the ball well.
Now they can.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see if you can do it consistently. So I don't know. We'll see.
What do they have this week? They don't have a bye, I think. SF. Let's see. Oh, no, they do have a bye. Seattle and San Francisco? Oh, no, they're playing Houston. Oh, that'll be an interesting test offensively.
Yeah. We'll see if that running game can stay consistent.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the thing about having, and this is why people make a big deal about having the right head coach, is I don't imagine that they're going to be unprepared for that attack in the way that defense, in the way that I think a lot of teams seem unprepared. And they got Trent Williams, which helps.
He was good in this game. I'm telling you, on those power runs, both tackles were just caving in guys on the down blocks.
Shanahan's, man. It's been for a few years now that I feel like they've been more
power-centric, gap-centric. All right. My woof is the Vikings, who lost to Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts went nuclear in that game. Could have easily been a winner, but I'm sure you guys have heard a lot about Jalen Hurts' game. He was excellent in that. Devontae Smith, oh my God, by the way, watching that one back. Whoo, buddy. But so Vikings are loser because I think, defensively, there's been games where the Flores defenses, if you run into like an offense that will really throw downfield, they'll punish them for that. I think they'll bounce back. My reason why I have them in this category, and what I want to talk to you more about, is what they decided to do at quarterback, because it just seems like it's funny I feel less bad about the Niners because it's like you have two decent options, right? I genuinely believe Mac Jones has shown he can operate that offense, and I'm still I think Brock Purdy can as well. Whereas in Minnesota, I don't think right now it feels like two bad choices. Now, obviously, McCarthy's been hurt, and there's a lot of confusion or murkiness around that injury.
Yeah.
But when I say it's a bad choice, he was playing poorly before he got hurt.
And they had two good choices in the building last year.
I
mean, I think
it's
wouldn't
not their
look.
fault.
Yeah, I know. But it's not their fault, but it's their problem.
Right.
Like, I guess it makes it uglier, to me at least. It makes it harder for the
Right.
fans and for anybody watching it to accept when you're like, hey, Daniel Jones is the best quarterback in football, it would appear by his numbers right now. And Sam Darnold is balling out also. Like, I applauded the decision that they made. I thought it was the right decision. And we can't say whether it's the right or wrong decision yet, because like the calculation that they're making is that just that what's his name, JJ McCarthy will be good enough as he gets better. So, but at this point right now, it's impossible to look at this and be like, hey, good job.
I know. Is there, so McCarthy, I guess, might be back next. It's been really odd for him.
It has been odd.
I do not see the point of continuing with Wentz. Yeah, he has like flashes of decent play in this game against Philadelphia. He'll make some good plays and good throws, but then he also makes the errors that have kind of plagued him over the course of his career, holding on to football, taking sacks, throwing bad interceptions.
You would expect that Kevin O'Connell's one of those coordinators and coaches that gets the best version of a quarterback, and it doesn't seem like we're getting that, or maybe we are, and it's not good enough. But you're right, it doesn't seem like it serves him. If JJ's healthy, then it's time to put him in.
Put him in and see if you can get him to play faster. Just from, I mean, you got to find out what you have this year. I think is where I come down on it with Minnesota.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's this. It's obviously like we do this with a lot of teams, but it does feel true about this team is that they do feel like they're a quarterback away, right? And like they're not a perfect roster, but like especially when Darrishaw's healthy, it's like this offense should be one of the best in football. Like it has all the things, like multiple weapons to catch the ball, good tight end, top of the league offensive mind. Like they should, and like the defense isn't as like consistent, but like the defense has the ability to be really good and has been at times this year. But I don't even care about that as much as it's like if they reach their potential on offense, this team is a real contender no matter what. And then if that defense plays well also, they're blowing people out. So that's the frustrating and I think disappointing part for Vikings fans and that team, honestly.
I kind of blew past the defensive. I mean, they got wrecked by Philly. I just charted it up to Jalen Hurts just blacking out and just,
his explosive plays and like scrambly stuff. And like, I don't know.
I didn't think Flores called his best game. I will say that.
He stopped the tush push though.
So he's the other guy laying down.
Yeah.
What do you think it's like if you're that guy? when do they tell you you're going to be the guy who lays down to stop the tush? I should have looked up who it was.
Oh gosh. I mean, I think honestly, you probably feel good about yourself.
Really?
Yeah. Until you have 2 tons on your back and you're at the bottom of a pile and it's hot and you can't breathe.
It's like, no, I thought it was really disgusting. I'm gonna say it. Not a lot of fun. I feel like he called up some emotional blitzes in this game. Yeah. There were like a couple times I'm like, really leaving AJ?
So the back-to-back 0 blitzes killed me. At the end of the game, like the big one, it was like, and I guess like it makes sense. I don't want to be like super critical because it makes sense. Like you beat Jalen Hurts by blitzing him. So we blitzed him and we got a stop on a slant. You're going to run up. And I just knew, I'm watching it. I was like, this is a bluff. This got to be a bluff. You just did the blitz. The next play, you're going to show blitz, right? You're going to bluff. No, they 0 blitz again and double moved, which like, to be fair to, I think it was Rodgers that was covering, that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Like you're not supposed to be able to pull off double moves against a 0 blitz. And that's the wonder, or that's the best part. I know we talk about how 0 is so hard on the coverage guys, but I used to play a lot of 0 and was happiest in 0 because it's like, look, you can't mess around with me.
Right.
You're gonna run your route, and I'm gonna guard you as best I can. But you hit them with a sluggo, which is tough.
Yeah.
Slant and go for those who don't know.
I kind of, when I saw that, was like surprised that Philadelphia doesn't do that more often on
blitz plays.
Yeah, it feels like it's usually they just run a straight go because or AJ on slants is again, that's part of why it was effective. But it was not the best day. They were actually good against the run. Philly still can't run the ball.
Yeah.
But the quarterback issue is a big question mark for them and for Washington, because that's your woof.
Yeah, that's my woof for the week. So I mean, if their only issue was the quarterback, I think the Washington thing is particularly bad because they were a regression candidate for everyone. They're like the top tier regression candidate for everyone, and they have absolutely regressed. But it's not for all the reasons that you expected them to regress. They've actually gotten worse. Is the problem?
Right?
It's like we're like, they're going to be the same team, just as good as they were last year, but they won't be as lucky, and that will cause them to regress. I watched that game against the Cowboys and like, no, this team is worse.
Yeah.
On defense, at least. And the offense obviously is worse too, because they don't have the quarterback. They don't have, they did find a running game with Bill for a couple of weeks, but they don't have Terry McLaurin out there. He's injured. So like, that's the reason why it feels like it's sad to me, because it felt like entering this season that there was no way you could end this season more concerned than optimistic. And now it feels like with Jaden getting hurt again and the defense being older and not good, because like it felt like the idea was the traditional one. We got a great quarterback, a rookie deal. Let's get vets we can trust that are going to make this defense good. No, we got vets we can trust, and the defense is bad. So I don't worry about the offense as much when Jaden's healthy, because he's really kind of that good, but they don't have anybody to take pressure off of him on offense, and the defense is just impossible at this point.
When you Google Jaden Daniels, first headline that comes up is Jaden Daniels' mom demands fans stop manifesting former NFL star. I assume that's RG3 after Leif's injury.
She tweeted or something, right?
She got
Agreed.
No comment. The injury stuff with Daniels is concerning. It's been a concern of mine for a while. It was striking how comfortable the Cowboys were just manning them up, because they just didn't have enough to beat them in terms of the skill players. But the defense is the problem. Like you said, I think the offense has definitely regressed, and there's issues in McLaurin and all of that. I'm still believing the quarterback, although I worry about his health status. I just don't think this is a good defense. I think there's too many holes. There are major talent issues. There's in the passing game, there's guys that teams are just hunting. In the run game, they're just slow. You can run on them, especially off tackle. And then they lost their best pass rusher. Did you see that? Dorrance Armstrong. So it's tough, man. I was watching them against Dallas. I was watching the Dallas offense, thinking of like adjustments, or they don't really have anything because they traded for Lattimore and Tunsil, so they don't have trade ammunition. But it feels like they desperately need speed. Maybe move Samerstill back outside. I don't know, but because Lattimore's, they can't keep playing Lattimore.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to figure out a solution for this, because they don't have the bodies to do it. Like when it's kind of a cop out, but when a defense is just flat bad at a bunch of different places, my automatic response is That's it. I mean, what else you gonna do, Mina?
Blitz. I
mean, do you have a better idea? I don't know what the scheme is that you can.
I think they're too worried about their corners.
That's fair, but I don't know. So I guess I don't know. So what do you?
No, I know. I'm with you.
What I would argue for, and this is the problem, is generally the way that I think about defense or offense too, is like, where are we strong? What's the unit that we can put the pressure on? Like who can handle this in order to support other people? I don't know. Like it doesn't. None of these units do. I feel like, hey, we can. So it's just like, let's get some pressure and try to create havoc. Either we score or they score.
Go for it on fourth down every time.
They're good at that.
It's an old roster. That was the funny thing, right? Coming into the season, they were up there. I don't have it in front of me. and it looks like it on defense in particular.
It does look old.
All right, well, those are our woofs for the week. Dallas Cowboys playoff team, perhaps.
I guess maybe. I don't know. I mean, I'd be happy for Dak, but like,
balling.
Yeah, I hate to see bad defenses get rewarded.
So Omaha Productions makes the show. They also make the show Chad Powers, which finishes next week. For those, check it out on Hulu if you have Hulu. It's very funny. So you know what the show's about, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like off that Eli thing, right? Okay. Where he's like pretending to be.
So I have a question.
A great quarterback.
Or no, it's a guy who's a college quarterback who comes back.
Right. And like puts on prosthetics and then
right. Okay. So we were talking about how the Vikings are woof. Here's my question for you. This is dead serious.
Okay.
If Tom Brady pulled a Chad Powers and joined the Vikings, what do you think their record is at the end of the year?
What's their record right now?
No. Ignore that. Just if you started from the beginning. Yeah.
10-7. I was being serious.
I mean, I watched Joe Flacco. I
was being serious. Okay, just making sure.
No,
you're not laughing at me because it's wrong. You're laughing at me because it's ridiculous.
It's just I kind of agree. If Christian Darrisaw was playing, if there's no Darrisaw, he's dead back there. Do you think when he calls games, he thinks about it?
Of course. How could he not?
Yeah.
You don't think that he's watching these plays like, man, I could have done that.
100%. Justin Jefferson, throw it up to Justin Jefferson, please. I could. And he probably is in great shape. He probably still works out and stuff.
Yeah. Guarantee he could make it through a game. Charlie was making fun of his team as my co-host who loves the Commanders, and he said that he thought that I could play better than Lattimore, and I was like, that's the most insane shit. It's not quarterback. Like I would die after one play trying to play NFL corner. I would die. I might survive as long as I didn't have to make a tackle and it was a run away from me. But
quarterback is the position. It's why the Chad Powers is a very realistic show.
It is, and everyone should watch it. Are we doing the Chad Powers commercial?
We just did. Go check that out on Hulu. I will be back later this week to preview Week 8. Check that out wherever you get your pods. Go follow Mina Kime Show on Instagram to wait for my exclusive to IG power rankings, Dog Walk power rankings. Also, check out the Domonique Foxworth Show, which comes out on Friday. Well, it comes out multiple times a week, but
check it out. They probably already have them.